Great. So welcome. I mean, this is to the first workshop, and your cohort 6, which covers a really huge geographical area of Scotland for us, from Shetland to Orkney, to Outer Hebrides, to Moray and Speyside, Argyll and the Isles. And you're the sort of next final 40. We're now working with 100 adventure activity, marine wildlife operators across the whole of the Highlands and Islands Enterprise region. So it's fantastic. And the long-term ambition of this program, the Let's Grow program, is to have a group of like-minded businesses working together that you can really share ideas and opportunities. I'm going to share my screen because I've got the agenda and things there, because we've had to tweak it slightly. So I'll just bring my screen up and share it.
Progress.
Okay, can everyone see that? Everyone okay there?
Yep.
Good, good. Okay, so this is the first of the workshops, and what we're going to look to cover today is just welcome introductions, outline of the program, a bit of a market insights from the Adventure Travel Trade Association, Gargana, who's joining us today, and give a global overview, because it's important to set the scene in sense of where adventure tourism is in the marketplace globally, and in a sense where Scotland is and the opportunities that there are. And then we'll be going into looking at, from that, knowing and trying to understand your customers. Fergus will take us through that. And then we'll be doing a bit on what consumers are looking for. That session was going to be delivered by Jim Eccleston and Duncan Stewart of 56 Degree Insights. They're traveling back from the Dolomites. They're doing some work with a guy called Tom Bunkle, who some of you may remember. He was the Scottish Tourist Board chief exec way back, and they've sort of got caught up in some travel. So we're sort of working around that, and then Fergus will come into the business improvement planning session, and then the close of the workshop, and there were a few points and things to raise. The chat feature is there. Use it, get to know one another. If you've got questions as we're going through, fire it up on the chat, and Fergus will respond to that, and then we'll draw us into there. The team that we've got, that's me, I'm Stuart Walker. I'm on the left-hand side, and I said it last time, that's not a can of McEwan's. That's actually a flask of hot chocolate that I'm holding in my hand. Fergus, who both of us have been delivering this program, together with Fraser Copeland, who is Chief Executive of Lochaber Chamber of Commerce. So between the three of us, we've delivered the first slug of the cohorts and the programs, and we've brought Sandra into the team to help us to deliver this to cohort 6 yourselves. And Sandra, who knows Argyll and the Isles really well, is looking to engage with you, especially through the one-to-one programs and sessions. We've got quite a few workshops set up. We try to keep these to 90 minutes, absolute maximum, because we find that's just about enough time to keep everyone's interest going. So we've got today's workshop, another one from the 17th of November, and from that one we'll be joining in with the cohorts 3, 4 and 5, which is the Caithness, Sutherland, Wester Ross, Easter Ross and Inverness-shire, and they'll be coming into to those workshops. And then we've got ones running through on the 7th of December, the 11th January, February 16th, March the 2nd, and then the final one will be on March the 16th. And the 16th of March, we'll be bringing everyone together. We're looking at the logistics of that and how we actually present that, but to have some interesting speakers. And that might be slightly longer, but the type of thing where people could dip in and out of if they felt it was necessary. We've then also got a number of regional workshops, which we're holding over the next 2 months or so. And we've got one which we kick off in the 6th of December, Monday the 6th, and that's going to be held in Oban. And then we're holding one in Aviemore, another one in Forres on the 9th of December. We'll be in Shetland on the 14th of December. 19th of January, we're in Kirkwall, 25th of January, we're in Benbecula, and 26th of January, we're in Stornoway. But if I think we sent you the information out, we also have a number of other workshops. It's all part of the Outdoor Scotland Tourism Strategy, and these are regional workshops and the chance for the industry for us to bring them up to date and where we've got with the strategy work to date, and then for your chance to input to those. So you're more than welcome to come to any of those workshops. We'll send out the link to the workshops and the when we finish this and we send out the notes. In terms of just program information, we've got 2 or 3 ways you'll get information from us. There's the project website, which is there. That's a password protected for the front page. But once you've been into it once, it tends to remember it and you take straight into it. We're updating that just now with information, but that's where we'll put more details on workshops, profiles on our speakers, where the presentations that we've had through the various workshops, and recordings of the workshops. So they'll all be available there. And there's a news section that's there with information on different things that we pick up from Visit Scotland or from ATA, or anything we think might be of interest to you. We'll either email that out to you, or we've found that in the past 9 months, we've started using WhatsApp a lot more for each of the other cohorts. It's an easy, quick way to get the information out to you. And then with a link, we take you through to the website. And we also then will be posting stuff out on LinkedIn, which is, we had a LinkedIn page set up, but there was too many pages and things around there. So we decided that it's probably best just we'll link with us. Both Fergus and I and Sandra are on LinkedIn. So if you want to follow us, if you feel so desire, then please do link in, and we'll keep you up to date with industry information and things that are happening from there. I'm delighted, as I said earlier on, that Gergana is joining us today. Gergana is based in Europe and working for ATA, and her role is to raise the profile of ATA, get more members, but also help the industry, the venture tourism industry in Europe develop. And she's going to look at, from a point of view of global trends and venture tourism, the growing trend of soft adventure, how that's becoming more important, and how, you know, some ideas and possibly on how Scotland can benefit from that. So I will now come out of this. I'll stop sharing. I'll go back to a full screen, and I'll pass you over to Gergana. Thanks very much, Gergana.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone, and it's a great pleasure to be able to see you virtually, and I definitely hope that we will be able to be together again somewhere. And actually, as I'm starting this ATTA, just to give you a little bit of background. Yes, my name is Gergana. I'm leading activities in Europe and Central Asia for the Adventure Travel Trade Association, or ATTA. And we were very fortunate to have one of our marquee events in 2010 in Scotland. And I do hope that we will be back again in Scotland. So what is the goal of this session is to give you, as Stuart mentioned, a little bit of background information about adventure travel as to where it's heading and what are the global trends. And in addition, to give you background about ATTA and adventure travel. At the end, we will leave some time for questions and answers. As I mentioned, the ATTA is actually, I didn't mention it, but ATTA is established in 1990, and basically for over 15 years now, with the new ownership, which made the organization a global one, because for the first 10 years it was more focused on North America. ATTA has been in the driver's seat of inspiring adventure travel, outdoor activities, responsible travel. And we've been working with various destinations with different, basically with the entire supply chain of the travel industry to make most sense and to make it more meaningful as an industry. ATTA is a vital leadership voice and partner for the adventure industry around the world. Our mission is to inspire, connect, and enable a global travel. Sorry, I keep moving the Zoom settings. That's why my mouse is going around. ATTA's mission is to inspire, connect, and enable a global travel community to deliver experiences that protect natural and cultural capital and create shared economic value. It is important to mention, especially after our mission, also the definition that adventure travel, we as ATTA, but also our community refers to. It is the mix, the combination of physical activity, cultural immersion, and a nature-based activity. It is very important to mention that as the adventure traveler evolves, the experience is very important. Only the mix of these three activities is not enough any longer for the adventure traveler. And in the heart of the experience needs to be some kind of a wellness experience. It could be a transformation, impact, personal impact, or in the destination that the traveler visits, some kind of a challenge or a novel and unique experience. Here, this slide illustrates some examples of adventure activities. And it is important to mention here, as Stuart commented a little bit earlier, that adventure travel actually is very much focused on the so-called soft experiences. So an example could be exploring life in rural areas by bike, or a culinary class, hiking and wildlife watching, farm tours, nature walks with nature, with photography. And this slide illustrates example of these soft or specialized experiences. And about 90% of what our members offer fall within these types of experiences. Of course, the so-called hardcore adventure is still offered, but this is only what 10% of our members offer and what the adventure travelers are looking for. So it is not a niche industry, and we can prove this by this market size that carries an estimation that it several years ago, it was $683 billion industry. And obviously we believe, based on the trends, we believe that it's been growing, except of course during COVID times. Although a little bit later, I will be mentioning also that during COVID, and as you also commented, adventure and outdoor activities are types of activities that people first were looking into. The reason why we are mentioning the market size is also here to compare it to other industries, as very often we hear comments that outdoor industry, adventure travel, it's still a small niche. Well, putting this here into context, actually it's not a small industry. So definitely we need to be proud of what we offer, what we are in, and of course with this we also carry our responsibility. Another comparison, another focus on the market impact is here this comparison with the cruise industry, and we can see that only 4 adventure travelers are enough for generating the same economic impact that 100 cruise travelers would bring. And we know that, of course, as any other traveler, there is a negative impact that we bring. So definitely looking into the potential negative impact of 100 people compared to 4, we can see that it is a way more careful industry to the nature, to local to local communities. And also another important number to kind of highlight is that 65% of what adventure traveler spends stays in the destination. So here's also about speaking about the economic impact that adventure travel brings and leaves in destinations. The next several slides speak more about our membership and our community. I will not go through all the slides, but it could be a good and useful reference for you to look at these slides at your own at a later stage. So our membership, the majority of our members are tour operators, then media members, tourism boards and destinations, and different types of industry partners, which are transportation companies, IT companies, consulting companies, and so on. The majority of our members are from North America. As I mentioned, we started from North America as a North America focused organization for over 15 years. We are growing globally. The next bigger communities in Europe, then we have South America and the rest of the world. ATTA has a growing team around the globe, so this helps us with the growth of our community as well. Of course, COVID really impacted us as well. So during COVID times, we actually launched a couple of new membership categories. One of them is the community membership. The other one is professional membership, which is for individuals. And then the business membership is the membership which has been existing for forever. Of course, the different member categories have different member benefits. You can go through these at your own. Of course, we also offer different resources and educational benefits as part of the membership. And here I would like to mention the community that we are reaching out to. You can see that we have over 32,000 people, professionals, travel professionals as part of our community. And then these are our social media followers. If you're interested in joining, learning more, you can go to this slide and find what is the best level of membership. You can see that the community membership is free, and still you have some good benefits from it. This is our global membership team. So you can reach out to either Mia, who is our member community lead for Europe, or our lovely Mira, who is our global director. Something very significant for ATTA is our events. As most of you have attended probably different types of events, something which we oftentimes hear about ATTA is really the spirit, the energy that ATTA events bring. So we're very proud of them. At the beginning, as I mentioned, our main marquee event is the Adventure Travel World Summit. We're fortunate to have it back in Europe next year, so next October. It would be great if you can join us. And if you're more interested into the North America market, you're seeking inspiration from there, or you're looking for connecting with the buyers and media from North America, Adventure Elevate might be an interesting event for you to consider joining. This is more of the background of who we are and why we're talking about adventure travel and what are the changing dynamics and behavior of adventure travel. Obviously, COVID is changing the traveler behavior. It will continue shaping as COVID is still part of our daily life. You mentioned how many bookings you have, but still the uncertainty is too big for next year, for the next season. We know that COVID will leave a deep mark on the attitudes and expectations that will be shaping the traveler decision making and consumption of future travelers. Something that we see, and I'll be curious to also hear from you firsthand, based on this year's experiences that you had, based on what we hear and know, that the post-COVID traveler is expecting more technology and virtual solutions. They perceive hygiene as non-negotiable. They are still seeking to be away from crowds. They are seeking, demanding actually, contactless services. And most important, and this is definitely on the positive aspect, they're eager to be outdoors and physically active. We recently released the some of the Venture Tour Operator snapshot survey. And actually, I will be also following up with Stuart and sending a few other reports which we recently released that I think that might be useful for you. So some of that information which we released is about hot and trending motivations for adventure travel. New experiences, going off the beaten track, to travel like a local, last chance travel, wellness, and cultural encounters. From the warm trending motivations are digital detox, adventure travel as a status, pampering and luxury, adrenaline rush, referring to the other 10% of the travelers, and going on popular adventures. And another important information is the hot trending adventure activities. And these are hiking, trekking and walking, wellness-focused activities, cycling, e-bikes, specifically cycling on mountain non-paved surface, safaris, culinary, photography, cultural cycling, and expedition cruising. I believe Scotland is rich on all of these offerings and has so much to offer to respond to all these hot and warm trending activities or motivations for adventure travel. So definitely you are at a great spot, and with the strategy and the work that has been done during the past year and a half, I'm sure that good years are ahead of you. Top trending activities by regions. You can see here a comparison by continents, and here is specifically for Europe. Cycling is a big, there's a big demand and a lot of focus on it. Hiking, trekking and walking, which I mentioned, and wellness focused activities. And I think that Scotland were the first ones to actually have a medical prescription of spending time in nature and for taking care of well-being. So obviously you are very well, again, positioned from that perspective, and you are on a leader position and can pick up the fruits from this. I believe the definition which I used for adventure travel speaks also about the fact that in the DNA of adventure travel is sustainability. So sustainability, of course, matters. With the changing travelers' behavior, it is even more important. So the next slides give some definitions of sustainable tourism. What is actually sustainable tourism? You can refer to them on your own. And here, actually, in a summary, what I can mention is that it is the balance between making optimal use of the environmental resources, respecting and valuing the social cultural authenticity of host communities, and ensuring viable long-term economic operations for the local people. Complementing this, of course, is creating meaningful, sustainable experiences for travelers that raises their awareness of sustainability issues and practices. Probably some of you have heard of the term invisible burden. And here what I can mention about it is that failure to address tourism's real costs puts ecosystems, cultural wonders, and community life at increasing risk and places the tourism industry on a weak foundation that could crack under its own weight. So that's why doing sustainable business, but is crucial. And based on this, our advice and recommendation is to move into action and to offer sustainability by default. So what does that mean? Here are some examples. Behavioral economics in tourism can be applied. This is an interesting resource, which the link is at the bottom of this slide. Behavior smart tactics can inform the design of travel products and services that promote the sustainable choice as the most likely choice the consumer or traveler will make. Tactics can impact pricing strategies, staff training, and experience design. So this was recently released. Super smart and super useful resource, and definitely we are working with some of the team behind it on applying some easy tactics, knowing better how travelers really behave instead of expecting them to behave in a more sustainable way. Another example comes from France. Sustainability is non-negotiable. A few months ago, actually, France came out with a statement that they are banning short-haul domestic flights. And this refers to making some bold changes on regional or national level strategies and regulations. Again, avoiding to leave the choice to the traveler, because sometimes even if they come with they prepare for their trip with their best intentions to have a more sustainable or a very sustainable experience, they don't always behave that way in reality. And the last example that I would refer to is an example of radical transparency coming from one Austrian tour operator, Asi Reisen. What they did is, in addition to actually applying in the cost of the experience, all the carbon emissions, they're calculating, reducing, and compensating these emissions. So they're taking the responsibility of these. They are increasing the local value. So again, they are calculating and communicating what local value they are leaving in the destination that they're bringing travelers to. And also through a drop-down menu, they help travelers find the best experience through transparency. So you have, obviously this is in German, but you can choose your experience based on certain criteria, whether you want to leave maximum economic impact in the local destination, or to have minimum carbon emission produced during your experience, and other options to select. It is in German, as they are serving obviously the German speaking community being out of Austria. So I hope that this gives another example of importance of applying such changes in the offerings, but also very important on transparently speaking about it to your travelers. The few takeaways that we have for you is that adventure travel is a mix of culture, nature, and physical activity with the experience at the heart. Adventure travel is economically important industry that also preserves the local nature and community. All the hot trending adventure activities, I believe, based on my knowledge of Scotland, definitely respond to what you have and puts you in a very attractive position. And the fourth takeaway is to go along with the trends and work on and focus on sustainability as non-negotiable. With this, I would like to thank you for the time and the attention. I hope you found this useful. I'll be super happy to be in touch with you. Here is my email. And of course, anytime you would like to also reach out to ATTA, you can contact Stuart. We're in close touch and he can pass the information to me. Thank you and good luck with the rest of the training.
That's excellent, Gargana. Anyone get any questions for Gargana? I mean, I think a lot of the points that she's been raising there will actually come up in the next few slides, especially when we show the consumer research and the hot trends and the activity that's getting a lot of interest. And I think, and you're all aware of it. We can't not be aware of it with COP26 taking place, over in Glasgow. Sustainability is becoming more and more relevant, and the consumer's much more aware of it. I think Booking.com have done some really good research and findings from their customers and their databases. So it's really to the fore, and it's something that we found last year when we were engaging with a lot of operators. And sustainability has come out in the consumer research as a key thing that the consumer is looking for in the UK research. And the international tour operators research that we did, again, sustainability is high on the agenda for their customers. Okay, any questions for Gargana? I mean, we attended one of ATTA's events in September. Some of the other cohorts 1 and 2 also attended, and we were able to touch base with quite a few tour operators. We were able to engage with them and ask them questions about the Scottish product, which helped tie in for us into the Outdoor Scotland tourism strategy. It's like any industry organisation. There's lots of information that's there. It's up to you how you filter it. But there's some really good reports and information. We'll be able to share some of those. Gargana sends them through to us. So Gargana, really thank you very much for your time as always. I think the one slide that always stood out for me.
Question from John, I think. John?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I was just waiting for you to finish that, Gargana. The options to join up to ATTA, which I'm very well aware of. As a sole trader, would I join potentially as an individual or as a business? It is a business, but it's just me, as it were.
So if you're looking for adding the ATTA logo on your website, it would be business. But if you're looking for a way to stay part of the community, it would be professional membership, which is for an individual.
Okay, and that answers my question. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
I was just,
thanks, John.
I was cutting across you there, John. Your hand was up. So I think that slide that shows the cruise, the volume of the number of cruise passengers compared to the numbers in adventure activity operators and the contribution they put back into the local economy, and that value that adventure tourism, broad brush adventure tourism puts into local economy. It's something that we have found since we've been doing our work on the Outdoor Scotland tourism strategy, is that the marine adventure and wildlife sector has been below radar for a long time in Scottish tourism and not realising the opportunities and the benefits. And that's what Wild Scotland, Victoria and Alan from Sales Scotland are hoping that the strategy will address and begin to get some traction, not just within the industry organisations, but up to Scottish Government level. And it's the Scottish Government tourism team that are funding and supporting the project. So some interesting stuff. So Gergana, thank you very much for that. I know you're struggling, Gergana, so if you don't want to hang around, then please don't. Please do.
Thank you.
And I'll be in touch for other things.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
really
thanks
appreciate
very
it.
much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Sandra, is that a clap or a hand?
It's a clap.
All right. Okay. We wanted just at this point, just following Gergana's presentation there, just as a raise your hand, put it on chat, just a couple of questions. Who do we think Scotland's main competitors are? And what do we need to do in Scotland to be more competitive in the marine adventure and wildlife sector? Helps us as we shape the next workshops. We just get your views and ideas coming forward. So if anyone's got a few, just fire in. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, just if you can maybe come off your mutes, so you can just sort of jump in the conversation. I know these things are not easy to do. It's easier when people in a room to get some chat going. And maybe put your cameras on if that's okay, just so we can see you. That sort of helps a wee bit as well. Just if that's okay, just for this session. So we're just trying to get
just a couple of minutes on this session, as
yeah.
So maybe New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Scotland, in terms of its natural capital, is compared all the time, regularly, with New Zealand, Norway, Lofoten, these sort of areas, certainly.
Scandinavia as well.
Indeed.
Yeah. Iceland.
That's again through Gergana helped us for the outdoor strategy. We're engaging with the top 5 in the ATA Destination Index, top 5 mature destinations and the top 5 emerging destinations. And that's like Chile and Israel and other countries that are coming through as emerging destinations. And New Zealand's up there. Kate, John, yeah, we're engaging with them. Gergana's helped us introduce some contacts into there to try and find out. But we're doing it at a strategic level. How important is adventure tourism to their tourism economy? And do they have a distinct brand that they push and promote to promote outdoor tourism, adventure tourism that's there? Is that a question?
Because for me, for example, Norway's a real competitor, but when you consider the price, it doesn't become so much of a competitor because Scotland's so much more accessible. So having done some work in Norway, it's a competitor from a landscape perspective and an infrastructure perspective. But then when the kind of guest has a look at how much it will cost to do something in Norway compared to how much it will cost to do something in Scotland, I think that they lose the fact that they're competitors because Norway's so much more expensive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Sorry. Oh, carry on.
I was just going to say that with people not traveling abroad so much, I mean, I've been absolutely swamped with people this year who are discovering Scotland because it's on their doorstep, both Scottish and English people. So
You see that in terms of what you just said there, Kate, are the people that have, even within Scotland, not visited different bits of Scotland before, and are they first time people from England coming to Scotland? Did you notice a lot of that customer?
both of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the islands, so there are quite a lot of people in Scotland who haven't visited the islands yet, and the Western Isles anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I would echo that, as my season this year has been, predominantly UK based, and there are new people, as I say, when I say new people, they've never holidayed in Scotland before, Scots or English. Can I just pick up, sorry, I'm not sure your name, EAC.
Adam.
Hi, Adam. Your comment in terms of Norway and expense. What product do you? What do you do?
Just to oversee, it's a mix of both personal development retreats here in Scotland and then some overseas expeditions that we've done further afield. So yes, similar sort of 5-day adventure therapy almost, if you like, offering, which we compared to do it in Scotland, and then in Glenfeshie, and the cost would in Norway, and in Glenfeshie, and the costs were just crazy actually in Norway to do that kind of offering.
So what is your typical customer market?
It's people, individuals who come, yes, self-paying individuals who come fundamentally internationally, from all over the world, really.
You're a high price point as well, aren't you, Adam?
Yeah. It's quite a high price point offering.
Okay, no, that's interesting. I certainly do agree with you to a certain extent, but I do a lot of work with used to a lot of work with North American clients and what have you, and the time they come over here or Norway, the cost of the unit between Scotland and Norway is there's not a huge lot of difference, or not that they would be put off by one or the other. I just wondered on who your sort of customer was. I do agree with you, but I'm not sure it's relevant to all customers within our market. But
okay, well, look, I think we want to keep to time, so thanks for that. I mean, we just getting it's important that everyone gets to know one another, because we want to really get this like-minded people working together. I'm just going to back in, share my screen again, and move on to the next thing. And Fergus is just that's what we've just talked about. Fergus is going to take you through this wee bit about, we've heard Gergana talking about the hot trends and various things, and we'll be leading into the consumer research. So we're just touching point about understanding, knowing your customer. Fergus, on you go.
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So yeah, we're not here to sort of teach you to suck eggs, but I thought this was just an interesting slide just to put up before we move into this sort of research that we've been doing. And the basic thing about just understanding and knowing your customers, in terms of probably what's happened in the last sort of 18 months or 2 years, in terms of just being quite clear about their needs and expectations and their preferences. And I think with what's happened with COVID, especially in the outdoor sector, businesses have had to realign themselves quite quickly to give that reassurance to the customer about health and safety, in terms of the whole regulations that came in place because of COVID. And that was all driven by customer need, basically, and enabling the business to react to that in a way that still enabled them to have a positive, a positive experience with the product. And we know that from the businesses that we have been talking to through the last couple of summers, which have been challenging, that the ones who were enabled that have managed to sort of survive and start to sort of generate some income again and have reasonably successful trading periods. So I think it is about just going back to that, sometimes going back to basics and thinking about what your customers' needs, expectations are, and then be clear on what marketing activities are the most appropriate for your target market. So we all know what's happened this year. The European market and the long-haul international traveller has just completely disappeared off the face of the earth. So businesses had to quickly reproposition their business. They had to look at different sort of ways of getting the message out to the domestic market within the UK and in Scotland. And I think the chat we just had earlier there reflected the amount of first-time visitors from England to Scotland, and also people within Scotland visiting a different part for the first time has been quite a predominant makeup of the marketplace. So in terms of the different messaging and marketing that you had to do, businesses have had to sort of reposition that, and the ones who didn't, unfortunately, have really struggled in terms of generating an income this year, because the customers basically disappeared and they didn't realign their offer to a different market. And then just thinking about how you then look at that to get the best return on your marketing investment. We'll come on and talk about that a wee bit later in the business improvement plan. But again, it's just about choosing the right mechanisms and the right mediums for you to get the messages out. And there's lots of more cost-effective ways to do that now, whether it's through your social channels or through your OTA routes to market, which obviously do charge a commission, but don't see it as a commission. It's just like a marketing cost, because they're able to get you significant global reach to a customer base that you wouldn't be able to do yourself in terms of the amount of spend it would take to get to a global reach. So I think what today, I mean, it's very much an introduction, but this sort of slide here is just to sort of get you starting thinking about your customers, who your customers have been and if they're changing and what they're looking for. And also, as we think about what 2022 is going to look like, that will feed into some of the stuff we'll talk about in the business improvement plan, and just allowing you to prioritize your actions for 2022. That's me, Stuart, I think.
Okay, thanks, Fergus. That's about knowing your markets, knowing your customer. One of the things when we were pitching for the Outdoor Scotland tourism strategy was that we felt that we were asked to do a supply audit, so find out what is the adventure, marine adventure and wildlife product available within Scotland. And we've done that. We've done a first trawl, and we've identified about almost 1,100 adventure tourism in the wildlife, marine and outdoor adventure sector. So that's what I said earlier, it's been a bit undervalued. But what we found is that there's not a lot of information there about the consumer market. So we brought in 56 Degree Insight, Jim and Duncan, who we've known for a number of years and worked with on a number of other projects, to commission some new primary research to the UK consumer. So this is the first time that's ever been done. And I've been really, really surprised about the depth of the information that we've managed to get. We wanted to find out what's the scale of potential of the UK market for adventure tourism in Scotland. And adventure is covering marine adventure activities and wildlife. It's a broad brush. So we got them to undertake this work, and they reached out to 1,500 UK consumers, which is a really big, in research times, it's a really big sample size. And we got them to look at and ask the questions on 30 activities. And that's a listing of all that's there. And we have a profile on each of these. The challenge that we have is how we distill that information out into meaningful chunks that you as the industry will be able to pick up. And this information will be available at sometime over the next few months in a way that you can look at it from your business. So that as Fergus was saying there, about knowing your customer and understanding your customer. And this is for the UK market, but it gives us a really, really in-depth information. And to give you an idea and an example of it, if you look at it, this slide, it breaks down into, you know, some of the key, we clustered the activities together, and then we looked at it in terms of what's the proportion of the population within the UK adult population that would have an interest in health and well-being breaks outdoors in the natural environment, or nature and wild watching, or hill walking, rambling, day boat trips, cruising holidays, cycling. And actually interesting, the hot trends that Gargana was identifying are all coming up in this marketplace. And then the key column is the right-hand one, is the potential size of the UK market. So that was looked at through the research that they were doing. The more interesting slide that comes to is the next one. Ignore the content on the right-hand side, because that's the methodology and everything that went through to it. But it's the size of the UK market. So the health and well-being market for Scotland in the UK is between 26 and 35 million. Right down to climbing, it's between 4 and 6 million. So we've got a really, really robust audience that we can target, and we can look to try and find out what their needs are and what their demands are. And we think that's going to take some form of dedicated marketing campaigns within the marine or within the adventure or within the wildlife, that we can begin to target these audiences. I don't know if anyone's seen the launch of Wild Scotland new brand and their new website. and that's bringing it up to very, very contemporary website now, a very contemporary brand, and that's now going to become consumer facing. So they'll be able to use this information to push out to the consumer, and they will be doing campaigns and everything that's coming forward from there. So you know, we will have this information available for you. It is some really, really great in-depth information. We've still got to just figure out how we do it. And the other interesting aspect is that the research we're getting from the international marketplace is very robust as well. And again, some key points coming out from there. In both of these surveys that we've done, sustainability is high on the agenda for the consumer. Also, the fact that they want to be able to have bookable products that they can book online. So we'll get this information to you, but I think it just lets us see the size and scale of the market. And I think what we need to do is make sure that when we go out there for 2022, we're able to bring the new audiences that will come into Scotland back again in 22 and 23. If we move on now to the next bit, I just want to show a short video to give you an idea of the benefits of this program from one of the guys that's worked on the program. This is Matt, who it's a day in the life of Matt, shall we say, in Skye. Fergus and I have been working with him over the past 18 months. He's a really fantastic guy, and he's put together this video for us just to give you a background to how we see this program being developed, you know, and the opportunities that are there for you to tap into us as a resource to help your business.
I consider myself lucky to spend most of my working day outdoors by fire. And I don't think it's any coincidence. I'm quite a happy chap. So this is the archery. We're a mixed target sports experience business. So we've built it as we go. I've always put the product first and the profit will come later rather than the other way around. This is the clay shooting. I've grown through talking to other businesses and getting a bit of feedback from my business and learning different things. And that's a lot been through Let's Go Adventure Tourism. There was a lot of kind of skill sharing and presentations. Just a good place to lean and get some advice, because I've never considered myself to be a businessman. So those two cabins, apart from the cladding of them, a total of 200 quid. And I still don't, but I learned a lot about the difference in scales and businesses, and the direction we're going isn't all that bad, and to have the confidence to keep going with it rather than questioning myself. We just let them come and escape, and they've said to us, well, I was having a bad year, but we've had an awesome hour and just a chance to get out. It's remarkable what you can do if you use a bit of imagination. Even after the program's ended, for now, if I contacted, I'd get a blether on the phone and some help and some advice. It was quite personal in that sense.
Fergus.
So, yeah, as Stuart said, we've been working with Matt over the last sort of 18 months or so, and he's reached a juncture in his business where he's looking to sort of develop his offer, develop his product, and take it to the next level. So that's, you know, that's been exciting for him. But I think we'll all sort of recognise that sort of graph there in terms of the day in the life of a adventure tourism operator, and probably not just as well tourism operators. If I can think of the year we've all had in terms of the ups and downs in life. But there's obviously a lot of challenges going on, and I think COVID's obviously exacerbated that in terms of survival, basically, through what's been happening. But I think the positive we sort of take from A, the programme, and B, the sort of relationships we've built up with the first sort of 50 or 60 businesses are their sort of resilience to get through things and change things. And we're sort of so pleased this summer with, once the restrictions gradually became released this summer, and generally it's been one of the best summers for some of the businesses who've been trading for 20 years. So I think there is a positive outlook and an exciting future for the future within Scotland. Next slide, Stuart. So the timing of, yeah, thank you. The timing of the program in terms of what we had to do is obviously to try and then have the time to be working with you over the next sort of 5 or 6 months, which generally speaking, that tends to be the time, the sort of shoulder months and the quieter time, which allows you to reflect, it allows you to plan for next year. So in terms of looking ahead to 22, it's just back to, I think I said at the beginning, thinking about, are your products and experiences, are they fit for purpose, or the things that you maybe need to do to modify them? Have you thought about new things that you want to add to your experiences in terms of new products or new things that are going to work for the marketplace? The whole book now thing, to be honest with you, I know we have different conversations with people, but it's a sort of, it's not going away. Booking online and being able to do everything online is just becoming the way of the world now. And just some examples this year of people who had been quite reticent and been quite, you know, booking online is not for me, and they embraced it and they did it. So I know over at Lochmorley, they did it last year actually, and they were, if it wasn't for it, in terms of the efficiencies behind the scene and maximising the use of your resources and your assets to drive your revenue, it is like a dream come true for them in terms of the booking system they put in. Also, I was speaking to the Foyers Pier chap this morning, and they put a booking system in. They've taken on the Beastie boat in Loch Ness. They use a booking system called Fair Harbour, which basically their first point of contact with the customer is when they arrive at the pier to jump on the boat. Everything's been done, the whole booking system, the name, the group size, male, female. And again, it was a godsend for them because of the very, very busy season. So getting online, being bookable and visible, I think is very important. And I'm not saying you're not doing it, but for those who are not doing it, it's definitely something to consider. Also think about collaboration and working with different bits of the supply chain, whether it's a food and drink operator, whether it's a whiskey tour. It's not, the customer's looking for the bit that you do, but there's other things that they want to do when they're in destination. Working closely maybe with the accommodation sector. We're working with a wee business in Fort William, and what he's done is he's been very specific about offering a service to local accommodation providers, where he basically either starts at the accommodation because it's near the waterfront, or he arranges to pick them up and bring them. And then that's enabled him to push his offer basically out to customers. And also just knowing some of your colleagues and who you're working with. It's been such a busy season. A lot of businesses have actually been working together in terms of like the freelance space, where people have actually been using other freelancers to work together. So sometimes they've been doing 2 or 3 different jobs with 2 or 3 different operators. So that's been because of one of the challenges with the skill shortages this year. That's definitely helped some of the businesses to maximise in delivering the demand that they had, because they had high demand. Another operator we were talking to that just recently was the number of they just were fully booked, having to turn business away. So think about your collaboration. Also think about your online travel agent distribution plan. Again, there's a lot of these modules we'll be covering in more detail as we go through the sort of the course content or the workshop content. And your social media content plan, if you're in that space, it's about, you know, working out what are the best platforms for you to put out the messaging about the experiences that customers have had, whether it's Instagram or using Facebook to sort of attract customers in terms of campaigns. And I think we're all familiar now with like social media and how it can link back to your website and how it can drive traffic into sort of bookings. So some things to think about for 2022. Next slide, Stuart. So what we did last year, we collaborated with Visit Scotland, and one of the things that, we were able to offer with all the participants in the programme is Visit Scotland have come on board with us and gladly given us some resource of their people to basically carry out like an online digital review. So basically it's looking at your web presence and your social media presence. It's a 10-point plan. It doesn't cost anything. They will do it for free online. They will then arrange a one-to-one with you to follow up on any specific actions on your website. And these are the sort of 10 areas. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but they look at all your sort of the bits of your business in terms of your mobile friendly, your Google speeds. They look a wee bit at your social media. And I think last year we felt that the value that we got back from the participants is it really helped them. Some people were ticking lots of boxes and that was fine, but it was just a few wee things they had to work on. And then further down the scale, there was other people that realized that, yeah, we've not spent a wee bit of time on our website, and it gave them focused actions to implement basically. And the feedback we've had from Visit Scotland and participants is it's been a nice value add to the programme, and I think it's something that we can obviously support you with that process. There is a GDRP thing, which is a bit of a nightmare, but we'll email it out to you. There's a standard little bit of phrase text that they've written for us. We will send an email to all of you. You just have to send that back to an email address at Visit Scotland, and then that will allow them to basically come on board, contact you directly, and then share the final report with ourselves and yourselves, so that when we're talking to you, we can be working with you on it. So we'll bring you up to speed with that after today's event. Next slide. So what we developed when we started this program, I've lost track of time, probably last sort of January, February, March time. So we've put together a template for you, which we'll email out to you. I know that Sandra's been talking to you, some of you in your one-to-ones, and I know there's a few of you that we will pick up with you in the one-to-ones. Myself and Stuart, or predominantly myself, will do that over the next sort of few weeks, and we'll get that scheduled in. But we'll email this out, and this is like a template that we've just provided for you, and it's to help you start thinking about your business, where it is today, what are your priorities for next year. We're not talking war and peace, we're just talking nice bullet points that give you specific things to focus on. So we're talking about your experience, we're talking about your marketing, we're talking about digital and social, and we'll come on to that as well. A lot of these subjects are going to be covered within the workshop program. Online marketing, routes to market. One of the things I took away from last year as a sort of complete catchphrase was, you need to become a social media company. It just so happens that you might be offering a sailing experience, you might be offering a climbing experience, or you might be offering a water-based experience. And it's that thinking now, the way the world's working, you're a social media company that's basically got something that's going to make you revenue. So the business improvement plan focuses on these sort of 5 areas, and we'll be working with you on a one-to-one basis with that. And as I say, we'll get that emailed out to you after this workshop. Next slide.
You got it?
Yeah, thank you. So again, just sort of things to thinking about. Obviously, you have to make a profit. I'm not saying it's a main driver, but it's something to think about. Again, looking at your existing experiences and your propositions, what's working, what could be better, or what you want to look at new. Understanding your customer journey. So when they contact you through whatever means that is, what's that looking like in terms of ease of bookability, ease of financial of the transaction to pay you, etc., and your T's and C's that goes with that. I've mentioned about being digitally focused. We've just briefly talked about collaborative working, and we spend a wee bit of time talking a bit more about that in the workshops. And a thing that's just come over the radar at 100 miles an hour in the last 18 months is about sustainability and responsible tourism. I'm at that sort of funny age, I think, trying to get my head around all these things. It is quite challenging, but I think it's something that's not going to go away. And what we're doing is we're learning as well how we can start to work with you to make things as practical as possible, because I think it's quite a difficult thing for people to get their head around. I know Glasgow's in the eyes of the world now with COP26 and what the countries are going to be saying about what they're going to be doing in the future in terms of reducing this 1.5 degree, not making the earth get too warm. But just wee examples of what some companies have done that work has been yeah, I've enjoyed my day on the mountain and we've had a great sort of experience and I've joined the food and drink. But see, for an hour or 2 hours the next morning before I head off or do something else, can I do something to give something back to the environment? So some companies, what they're doing is just organizing litter picks. And it's something as simple as that has actually been a driver on their website, and people have made the purchasing decision about the experience because they know they can give something back as part of their experience when they come on their holiday. So I think that's something that's going to be becoming increasingly a decision maker for companies. So start thinking about your own sustainability, your own sort of policies and procedures. Have that visible on your website, maybe like a policy statement or something in terms of your commitment to a safer world and a greener world. Next slide.
Okay, thanks, Fergus. We're coming to the close. Just winding up on a few things to bring to your attention so you're aware of it. 23rd of November, there's another Visit Scotland online event, which is Control Alt Succeed. I think they ran one in 2019, and this, apart from Malcolm Ruffhead and Rob Dixon speaking at it, they've got Douglas Quimby from co-founder and chief exec of Arrival, which is a tours adventure business, and they'll be giving the views on the latest trends and information that's out there. He'll be exploring on that workshop the link that Get Your Guide has now with Expedia, and how that's beginning to change some of the dynamics and the booking conditions. So that'll be a useful session. As well as that, they've got Justin Reed, who's Director of Sales of TripAdvisor. So he'll be giving the ways in which experienced businesses can use TripAdvisor to best utilize it, engage with the customers through their platform. The suppliers that they've got signed up are through the booking engine. And Kate, it might be of interest to you. You'll be able to find out some from them. But you've got Get Your Guide, Bocum, Fair Harbor, Digitickets, and Viator. So they're all going to be participating in this. We'll send you a link, but if you just go onto the Visit Scotland side and sign up sooner rather than later, because I think you can make appointments with some of these operators and begin to ask them some of the questions. So that's one event that's coming up. Something else that's going to be launched on Monday is the Visit Scotland Great Days Out, targeting tours and attractions and activities. I don't have any more information on it. It was just Patrick O'Shaughnessy came through to us today to say that that's going to be launched next week. So it's something, again, for you to reach out to the consumer. We'll get the information to you through a link that they'll have on their website. Just a couple of other things I want you to think about before the next workshop. What we want is the engagement with you, whether it's with Sandra, with myself, or Fergus, as we go through the one-to-ones with you, issues and things that come up, and you want to bounce an idea off. Talk to us about it. Got something that's true. Fergus was talking about a couple of the businesses that have taken on online booking systems. Others. Alice, I don't know if you saw Alice from Swim Wild UK. She was all over the news last winter, getting a sledgehammer out to break the ice, and she was on BBC News and the likes. She used to be out swimming. She swims every day. Hail, rain, snow, ice, blizzards, whatever. She's out there in the water, and she used to come back and spend 2 hours doing admin to catch up with all the emails and the bookings and everything that was coming up. And as we were talking with her and we suggested, and she said she looked at some online booking, that's now moved to a seamless online booking. Her admin is much easier, and she's got now an extra two hours of the day. The challenge for her is she's now written a book, and she's now doing another guide on while swimming throughout the UK. So she's just filled those extra 2 hours with some more activity that's there. But consider your priorities for your improvement plan. This is not a business plan. We're not asking for a tome of what you want to do and where you want your business to be in 5 times. What is it you're looking at over the next 6 months, 9 months, whatever the priorities in your business, where's the focus need to be. Use us and we'll help try and point you in the direction of some additional support and advice that's there. There's a benchmarking. Fergus, do you want to just touch base on that?
Just very briefly, we will send you this out along with the business improvement plan. In the business improvement plan, there's like a template you can use to measure your own business performance if you choose to do so, and it covers a number of business indicators, if to use that word. And then we will send along with it a wee spreadsheet. It's just to capture some basic baseline information. It's just one of these things that comes with delivering programs like this with public purse. So they like to look at any uplift in whatever that might be. It's fairly straightforward, but will help you if you need to fill that in. I'll very just briefly mention on the WhatsApp group. Should have mentioned it earlier, I apologise. As I go down the list here, I've got a number of people who've provided mobile numbers. So what I'll probably do, I'll email the people that I haven't got a mobile number from so that you can send it in to me, and I'll set up the WhatsApp group for this cohort and get that all up and running, because we've got it running for the other 2 groups and it works fairly well. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
But if you haven't completed that registration form, the link's been sent through to you, we need that so we comply with GDPR, because in theory, we can't share your details with others if you haven't given us permission. I don't want to, we're not going to spread it out to the world. It's just amongst the group. So if you haven't completed that form, please, do that line. I'll send again in the follow-up email that we send out about this workshop. We'll give you that link again to send out. Next workshop, 17th of November, same time, kicking off at 2:30. We'll have Victoria Brooks, who from Welsh Scotland. She'll be coming on to talk a bit more about their new website and their consumer-facing approach and their activity that's there, as well as their code of conduct that they've introduced and how they're beginning to make sure that we tie in with sustainability and responsible tourism. We'll have Chris Greenwood from and one of his colleagues from Visit Scotland giving much more of their insights to what they've been doing on a Scottish consumer, what they're looking at. And then we'll have the indomitable Peter Syme, if those of you haven't heard him before. Peter's just given his overview. Over the past 18 months, Peter's worked with something like 200 international tour operators, giving them advice and working with them. Plus he's got his own activity business based in Perthshire that he's been running and delivering. So Peter will be giving his view on the world, shall we say, and Fergus and will be leading on that one because I'm not around that week because I'm away. But that's it. So we're going to be around for another 10 or 15 minutes. If anyone wants to have a chat with us or anyone just to say hi to others. If not, great to have you on board, and we'll be getting you more information. Appreciate your time and joining us today. Thanks very much.